It's 12:30 on Monday, the 8th of December. Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. These are today's headlines. Killed by carbon monoxide, a safety warning after an elderly woman collapses and dies at her Didsbury flat. Also this lunchtime, we're not thugs, the hoodie-wearing teenagers who are sick of getting a bad name.
They're dressed in hoodies and they're trying to change the negative stereotypes that they've sort of got in the media. They are trying to show young people do care about what they want in their communities.
And in Harmony, the 8 world-class piano players who've taken over a city centre shop for their concert practice.
We've never had so many good pianists here all at once, and I don't think many places have had that many good pianists at all.
Good afternoon. Our top story this lunchtime. It's dubbed the silent killer. Now a safety warning's going out after carbon monoxide was blamed for the death of an elderly woman in Didsbury. She collapsed at her flat and died later in hospital. Channel M's Nina Warhurst's on this.
Police were called to this set of flats in Didsbury after staff at the adjacent bank reported a strong smell of gas. The supply was switched off, but it was too late for 80-year-old widow Elizabeth Kerr. She was found collapsed, apparently overcome by fumes, and was taken to hospital, where she later died. A member of staff from the Bank of Scotland was also taken to hospital, but is in a stable condition. Police have launched an investigation. Elizabeth won't have been able to smell or taste the gas and probably won't have known it was in her home. Carbon monoxide is produced when faults in household appliances mean that fuel doesn't burn properly. It starves the blood of oxygen, causing the body to suffocate from within. Elizabeth's case is not unique. Around 50 people die every year from carbon monoxide poisoning, and all of them could be prevented with one of these. It's a carbon monoxide detector. Its colour changes when levels of the gas are dangerous, and they cost less than £6. So what should you do? Make sure you buy a recognised detector and keep checking it. Have all of your fuel appliances checked regularly by a registered engineer just before the winter. Look for the warning signs. Are there black marks around your fuel appliances? Is your gas burning in the right colour? You should also look out for warning symptoms, from headaches and nausea to confusion and loss of consciousness. You might feel better when you leave your home, but the effects are cumulative, so make sure you contact the authorities if you suspect there's a leak. Staff here at the Royal Bank of Scotland did the right thing in raising the alarm, but with increased awareness and just £6 spent in every home, there's no reason why tragedies like that of Elizabeth Kerr should ever happen again. Nina Warhurst, Channel M News.
The number of people ending up in court because of their debts here in Manchester is on the rise. 120 people a day are getting county court judgments. That's an increase of 34%. Many are under 30, and experts say they're using credit cards and loans to fund lifestyles that they can't afford. History and geography lessons could soon be disappearing from primary school timetables. A review of what's taught suggesting having broader subject areas instead. Youngsters would also be taught how to have a happy life and start learning about computers from an earlier age. A former manager who stole more than £15,000 from the Salford Women's Centre has not been prosecuted. Police decided to give Joanne Drinkwater a caution because she paid back most of the money and had no previous convictions. She quit her job with the centre in May 2006 and was arrested 4 months later on suspicion of stealing the money. A councillor in the area is criticising the decision not to prosecute, saying she's not been held to account. Part of Rochdale's been named the area in the country with the highest number of people claiming they're too sick to work. But life for them could be about to get even more difficult with new plans from the Work and Pensions Secretary James Pennell to change the system for those on benefits.
More than 40% of people in the Central and Fairlinge area claim that they can't work because of their health. And most have been dependent on the state for more than 5 years. The majority cite mental health conditions or injuries as the reason why they qualify for incapacity benefit. But under proposed new rule changes, they might find the welfare system less sympathetic than has been the case in the past. The Work and Pensions Secretary James Pennell has suggested that welfare claimants undergo medical tests and fulfil certain conditions before getting benefits. He said that virtually everyone will be doing something in return for their benefits.
I think taking a stance like this in a boom economy, then where jobs are readily available, then that is a possibility. But we're in such depths of a depression I really can't see how we can fulfil his prophecy. We've got a high number of mental health and disability issues.
So you don't think that there must be a certain proportion of those people who are perhaps fit for work to some extent or the other, but still under the current system able to claim benefits?
I think there are a small percentage. There is an element of truth in it, but are the jobs there? I mean, statistics are predicting, unfortunately, by the end of next year, we could be as high as 3 million unemployed. This was traditionally a sort of industrial town. It lost a lot of its jobs over the years. We need sort of low-income jobs, less professional jobs, but it's a difficult climate.
Central and Faylinge is an area with a history of deprivation. But Mr Pennell's new measures could see more people in Faylinge forced back into some kind of work earlier than they think is for the good of their health. Georgia Calvin-Smith, Channel M News.
A group of Manchester teenagers turned out over the weekend to try to show that not all hoodies are thugs. It's part of a nationwide programme organised by the volunteer group CSV.
Today I'm working for the BBC community and we're trying to talk to people about teenagers wearing hoodies and how their perception on young people. What I've heard from other people today, the perception on young people is that they seem to think that young people who wear hoodies are bad people, and that's what I've heard and the perception of young people are. So today we're trying to change people's perspective on young people, because I'm wearing a hoodie today and hopefully if I put my hood up everyone will notice me.
Basically today we've got groups of young people come down and they're dressed in hoodies and they're trying to change the negative stereotypes that they've sort of got in the media, and they're trying to promote volunteering as something really good to get involved in, and we've basically done loads of research that they are trying to show young people do care about what they want in their communities and they want community cohesion.
I'm just here with a volunteer work here to support the teenagers of wearing hoodie. I want to get it around to Manchester people, people around there that there's not all teenagers out who wear hoodies are bad. We want to support the people that wear hoodies that are trying to do something with their life instead of just live out in the street. So what we're aiming here to do is, like, when people see a teenager walking on the street with a hood, they don't discriminate him and thinking, oh man, he's a scally, he's hanging around with him. And we just want to give them the opportunity to actually have a life and, not be badly supported by his co-workers and people that are living around him.
A young woman's in a serious condition in hospital after getting hit by a car in Staley Bridge. The 21-year-old was walking with a friend along Stamford Street when a Renault Clio mounted the curb after swerving to avoid traffic. She's being treated for a fractured skull. Greater Manchester Police have been showing off what the force's new helicopter can do. Codenamed India 99, it's been catching criminals since September. The £4 million aircraft's loaded with 3 special cameras that can cope with many different light conditions. Most recently, it's helped to catch 4 armed gangsters holding a meeting behind a garage in the city. A pastor from Bolton is highlighting the plight of a Christian couple who've been jailed in the Gambia. Martin Speed says he'll lobby politicians to get David and Fiona Fulton freed. They've been charged with rebelling against the state. Mr Fulton is chaplain to the Gambian army and his wife looks after people who are terminally ill. The couple have strong links with the West Taunton Pentecostal Church in Bolton.
Dave and Fiona have been out in Gambia for the last 9 years. Sold up everything here and moved over to the Gambia, bought a house over there, and are completely committed to the Gambian people, helping them wherever they can and in whatever way they can. The congregation feel very close to Fiona and Dave because we follow their work on a regular basis, and we are going to be writing to the MP and the Foreign Office, and we're going to have them daily in our prayers until they are released.
A man wanted by police over a sex attack on a woman in Salford has left the country and flown to Singapore. Detectives have already released a CCTV image of the suspect they want to question after a 37-year-old woman said she was attacked on East Lancashire Road in Swinton. Just hours after they did that, they say he bought a one-way ticket to the Far East. The UK has no extradition agreement with Singapore, so authorities over there are under no obligation to return him if he's found. A printer from Old Trafford has revealed how he got told he'd been made redundant when one of his colleagues texted him on his day off. Mike Hyland was at the hospital for an eye operation when he heard he'd lost his job at Trafford Park-based printing company C3 Imaging. He didn't hear from his bosses for a full 2 days after that. The company's refused to comment till after the appeal case has taken place. Now, there was plenty of festive cheer in Bramwell over the weekend. The village switched on its Christmas lights. We caught up with the Methodist minister, Reverend Leslie Newton.
Today has been a great day for Bramwell because it's been really the launch of Christmas, and so all the traders have been involved in trying to promote obviously what they want to achieve this Christmas. But it's been more than that because it's been a community day. And it was just a day for the community to be glad that it was a community. And so everyone was delighted to be there. And then since then, all the restaurants of Bramwell have been offering just free nibbles, and so people have gone from where we were all gathered all around the village. It's been a splendid day for the community. In these hard times, people have been able to just enjoy being together and be glad that we are a community.
Time now to take a look at the lunchtime sports headlines. With the details, here's Sam Goodman.
Thank you, James. Well, Manchester United have been given the green light to sign Lyon's French striker Karim Benzema after Real Madrid ended their interest in the player. If Sir Alex Ferguson continues his interest, it could mean Carlos Tevez will be allowed to leave Old Trafford. Meanwhile, Manchester City have been linked with a £52 million bid for Valencia striker David Villa. His agent is believed to be flying to Manchester this week for talks with the club. Well, the Blues drew this weekend, and despite taking an early lead, a fantastic strike from Jimmy Bullard meant City would have to settle for a point against Fulham. City started the game well after only 5 minutes when Pablo Zabaletta's deep cross found the head of Benjani. Then a good passing move from Manchester City was cut out by the Fulham defence, who set on a counter-attack down the right-hand side. Then a superb through ball by Bobby Zamora allowed man of the match Jimmy Bullard to equalise from a tight angle, denying Mark Hughes' men all 3 points. And I'll have all the goals from our local Coca-Cola League sides in this evening's bulletin. The Carling Cup semi-final draw was at the weekend, and if you haven't seen the fixtures, Manchester United will play Championship side Derby County, while holders Tottenham will play giant killers Burnley. The first leg will be played on Tuesday, the 6th of January. It was a positive response by Sale Sharks as they beat Montauban 36-6 in the Heineken Cup on Friday, despite the news that Philippe Saint-Andre will be leaving the club in the summer.
It will be 5 years here, and I think what's the name? All the good things is better. You live when it's still good, you know. So I don't want to do the year too much. I think about this for the last 3 months, and just you know, after delighted I am in this club, and Brian Kennedy bring me from Bourgoin, and we have 5 years fabulous. I think a fantastic squad and work with the guys, but I will be here. It's not the day to say thank you because I will be here until the last game of the season. So the thank you, the crying and all this stuff and the barbecue and the dinner will be in the last game of the season. Just we need to be focused and to win, focused to finish because we have a fantastic squad and we'll have 5-6 guys back in the beginning of January. And after, you know, I think it's good. Kingsley is a top man. He was my captain in Gloucester when I was coach. I bring him forwards coach with me for 5 years from Doncaster, and I think he deserves to have a go of director of rugby. And you know, and was he know well the club, he know well the structure, and but you know, I am just focused on the sports. I feel more light. I don't need to build the squad for next year and everything. So I am just focused about try to win the more games we can until the end of the season.
And it was another mixed weekend in ice hockey for the Manchester Phoenix. They started off by beating the Belfast Giants 5-2, but once again they lost to the Cardiff Devils. This time it was 2-1. And in rugby, National League 1, Manchester were heavily beaten 48-7 by Moseley, while Sedgley Park defeated Newbury 42-37. Well, that's all the sport from me this evening. Join me again later on.
More sport then with Andy Crane in the evening news from 5 o'clock tonight. Thanks very much, Sam. Still ahead on the lunchtime news, we carry on with week 2 of our Christmas choir competition, and we've been out with Greater Manchester's Chief Constable at a project to donate stolen bikes back to the community.
There's a sort of perception that it's sort of this big battle between good and evil. A lot of the offenders are people with relationship problems, drug problems, alcohol problems.
Welcome back to Channel M's Lunchtime News. We're here every day between 12 and 1, and you can always check out our reports online as well at channelm.co.uk. On there right now, see more of our look at what Greater Manchester's new police helicopter's capable of, and the man who says his bank harassed him for money after he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. That's at channelm.co.uk. Some news just breaking this lunchtime now, and a teenager is seriously ill after being shot in the eye with an air gun. It happened on Orham Street in Bury yesterday morning, and a man is being questioned by police on suspicion of attempted murder. We'll bring you more on that breaking story when we get it. Let's get some more of the day's news now. And experts say the toxic substances found in some pork products from Ireland will have no harmful effect. Supermarkets are clearing their shelves of affected products after a mass recall caused by pigs eating contaminated animal feed. The Republic of Ireland's chief medical officer says the levels of chemical being found aren't enough to be a concern to health. Dozens of planes in and out of Stansted have been grounded after a protest closed the airport's runway. Around 50 demonstrators chained themselves together campaigning against a second runway being built. Police have made 57 arrests and the airport is now in operation, though there are still some knock-on delays. Greater Manchester's Chief Constable's been to visit a community payback project that's not only benefiting people here, it involves taking stolen bikes, cleaning them up and presenting them to a charity, as David Henry now explains.
If you've had your bike nicked recently, it could very well have ended up here. At this scheme, people on community service take bikes recovered by the police, recondition them and then give them out free to members of the public. It's all part of the community payback scheme, and today the head of Greater Manchester Police came to see the scheme firsthand.
We get a large number of bikes that are handed into police, either as stolen property that we've not been able to give back to the owner, or as found property. And while we'll make every effort to try and get the bike back to the owner, a lot of bikes we can't identify who they belong to. And so a really good scheme is to donate these back to the community. They often need renovation, so again the people on the community payback scheme, they're learning skills on how to renovate bikes, sort out some of the equipment. And as I say, it means that local people can actually see that community service is actually benefiting their area. And there's a sort of perception that it's sort of this big battle between good and evil. A lot of the offenders are people with relationship problems, drug problems, alcohol problems. That's not in any way to excuse their behaviour, but it does mean often that the best way to protect the public is, yes, sometimes it's locking them up, but in other occasions it's trying to deal with that, getting them some skills, getting them a job. A lot of them have reading and writing difficulties. If you can actually do some of that, then often that might be the best chance of them stopping offending, which ultimately means that the people of Greater Manchester are safer.
Now, 8 big-name piano players have been hitting all the right notes simultaneously at Manchester's famous Forsyth's Music Shop. The world-class musicians have been getting together to practice at the Deansgate store for a special concert, and we went along to soak up all the culture.
Kathy Stott, who is organising this concert for her 50th birthday and bringing musicians from all over the world with the highest calibre to play, happened to know us and asked if she could do it rather shyly, I have to say. She thought it was a big request, and of course we said yes. We've never had so many good pianists here all at once, and I don't think many places have had that many good pianists at all, and playing fiendishly difficult music, which they all seem to enjoy tremendously.
Let's kick off week 2 now of our countdown to Christmas with the next of the entries into our school choir competition. Today we can hear from Rushcroft Primary School in Shaw. Their voting details are on the way right after we hear some of their song, Little Donkey.
Rushcroft Primary School, and what I like about it is all the teachers help you with your work if you get stuck, and I see my friends every day. What I like about the choir is because we do loads of songs that I really enjoy, and we go to the MEN Arena every year, and I like singing as well.
Well, after last week's snow, the temperatures have definitely turned a little bit milder. With a look at how the rest of the week is shaping up, here's Michelle Eagleton.
Taking a look at what the weather has in store for you today. It's a little bit milder than it has been over the past couple of days, so not too bad if you are heading out and about, but I would say take that umbrella with you, because as you can see from the picture, very, very rainy conditions outside. Not all doom and gloom, though. We are going to see a few patches of sunshine mixed in there for good measure as well. Highs are between 7 and 9, so like I say, a lot different than the 0 temperatures that we had last week when it was absolutely freezing and icy. We're not seeing any of that ice today, and it's quite clear actually as we head towards midday, and then by the afternoon we are going to see some of those sunny patches. That is great news if you've got plans for this afternoon. This evening staying dry mainly, but we are going to see a little bit of those rainy conditions overnight, and that takes us in to the next couple of days, when I can tell you that Tuesday is going to be fairly rainy outside and highs of just 6. Wednesday not too bad at all, but Thursday and Friday not the best of weather, I can tell you. Very cloudy and very wet.
You're watching Channel M's Lunchtime News. Our main headlines this afternoon. Police think an elderly woman from Didsbury who died over the weekend could have been killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. The pensionette collapsed at her flat where it's thought she'd been overcome by fumes. The number of people ending up with county court judgments here in Greater Manchester because of their debts is on the increase. There are now 120 a day. Experts say many are under 30 and they're funding expensive lifestyles with loans and credit cards they then can't afford to pay back. A review of primary school lessons is recommending bringing in more IT lessons sooner and ditching traditional subjects like history and geography. The report says the topics covered in those classes should be taught in more broad subject areas instead, such as health and well-being. We'll bring you more of Greater Manchester's main headlines in our early evening news, when we'll also be finding out more about a fundraiser inspired by a very special 5-year-old boy who has a rare muscle wasting disease. That's with Andy Crane from 5, but from me and the rest of the Lunchtime team, have a very good afternoon. Bye-bye for now.